Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hacking with Friends. My name is Kody Kinsey. I am a security researcher with Varonis, and this is Michael, my co-host and chief Code Spaghetti chef for today.
That is actually going to be truer than you imagine by the end of this, so I can't complain about that one. But I am basically doing this entire live stream myself, so you're just like a glorified mannequin.
Yeah, so today I'm going to be learning a little bit from Michael, who's going to be teaching us about steganography. Mm-hmm. And what's cool about this is we're going to be doing this at the same time that we're getting this computer to take off the desk. So if you hear it's really starting to go off or start levitating, it's because we had a piece of our equipment fail just before this, and now we're running everything through this tiny MacBook Pro, which is not recommended. So if we start lagging a tiny bit, or if you hear this thing start to sound like a helicopter, that's why.
Yes.
All right, so Michael, what are you going to be teaching us about today?
Well, I'm going to be teaching about stenography, but maybe not the stenography you think of. So what's the first thing you think of when I say stenography?
Well, I usually think of nation-state stuff, like when the Russians got caught controlling their botnet Instagram by like uploading photos with instructions for their botnets, or otherwise like photo or like video steganography.
Right, yeah. I think that's what most people think of when they think of stenography. Essentially, it is the art of hiding information in images. Usually the way that works is, there's bits that represent the colors for each pixel in an image, and by modifying the least significant of those, you can add data in there, and it's not like visually apparent that it's been altered. In fact, like one of the other things I know this is used for is to catch video game cheaters. So it's not uncommon to post screenshots on like various forums of like an exploit when you find it, or post a video or something like that. Now people usually will try to like cover up their username and do the obvious stuff. But what certain games will do, and I think it was World of Warcraft that was doing this, is they will actually like multiple parts of the image, they will stenographize like user ID information, so that if you do post those photos there, then first of all you could potentially be caught like just on the photo information, the IF data,
XF data, yeah,
the XF data. But assuming you were smart enough to scrub that, then they could catch you based on that stenography in the image. But none of that is what we're talking about today.
Yeah, and to be clear, there's all sorts of applications from this. Like what I talked about was controlling a botnet via, code hidden in an image. What Michael's talking about is basically like a really fancy watermark that's used commercially to be able to identify whether, a screenshot has gone out, and if so, who has made that screenshot. But there's other applications for this, and there's other ways of doing this too. There's audio, there's video, there's lots of other ways where you can hide some sort of message inside another message. But I will point out, this is not like efficient. This is a way to hide, or it's kind of, it's almost like security via obscurity, but there is a little bit of, I guess, like encryption and other stuff that can go on in this that makes it harder. But again, that's not totally what we're going to go into today.
So have you heard of anything around zero width characters? When I say that, does that mean anything to you?
I have this flashback to editing like a Nullbyte article from someone about something about that. Maybe it's a false memory. Maybe you could shed some light on that.
Okay, so essentially, obviously we're communicating in English, so I'm assume that the majority of our viewers speak English. Now, so English doesn't use zero width characters at all, because we don't have like any funny I guess the whole text editing stuff has been made revolving around the notion of like English characters and whatnot. But there are other languages which don't write the same way as we do, so they require special characters, right? Because so like Arabic, it's very elegant and flowing, right? But sometimes the line needs to stop, but it's not actually a space in the word, for example. And so that's where we have to use zero width characters. There are special characters that tell the program, hey, you need to render this character slightly different than you would normally, right?
So can you think of this as like a character version of like pressing the shift key?
Maybe.
So like it goes on to either modify the character before it or the character after, but it in and of itself isn't a character. It's still in there, but it's not actually showing up as anything.
Yeah. And in fact, let me switch over to my screen real quick, and I will show you an example of what this looks like. So I was saying Arabic, and so like here, you see how the line's not is continuous? That's incorrect. So the zero width characters will do stuff like this, right? It'll break it up. It will make it non-continuous. Now that's just one, right? There's the zero width non-joiner, and then the zero width space, which are, and I think that's for like typesetting. You can read more about it on Wikipedia. But there's a number of these characters. Now, why are these important? Well, let me go back to... sorry, I'm working with two monitors here. So, yeah, anyway. So, why are these interesting to us? Well, we can use them for a special form of stenography where we're hiding messages in text. So, we can have a text block that looks perfectly normal, and by using these zero width characters in there, we could potentially hide something. Now, the easiest way to do this, and the way that most programs do it, is essentially they're going to take two of those zero width characters. They can arbitrarily choose whichever ones they want, and you can designate them as a 1 and a 0. And then you have binary, right? So by converting any message you want to into binary, and then taking the 1s and 0s of the binary and setting them as these zero width characters, you can insert them into text, and then you have plain normal looking text that holds a secret hidden message. Now, this can be used for a variety of things, right? So obviously there's the good old like spy type thing of just hiding a message in an obvious area, right? So like, for example, I know during World War II, there's this big kerfluffle around the Normandy invasion because the code names for several of the beaches was in the newspaper, but it was like in a crossword puzzle and that sort of thing. Because spies back in the day, they would do things like that. They would take out a ad in the newspaper and then use some kind of cipher in what would look like normal text to communicate with people. And that's where I think one of the best use cases of this is the fact that you can post these hidden messages anywhere in public, and only if someone knows to look for them will they ever see it. So it's a very, very good way to communicate with another individual when you absolutely cannot be seen in contact with that person, because would raise to, like, say I was a whistleblower and you're a journalist and I was trying to communicate to you, maybe I post a bunch of text on a forum board somewheres, and then you would be able to go reference that, and there wouldn't be any email exchange between you. I wouldn't have to set up like a burner email that could get compromised potentially, or anything like that.
So it's like a dead drop. You could even do like a paste bin style thing,
right? And
just paste something out there into the ether, and there would be a hidden message in it. Well, one thing I'd also say is, if you're looking at this from just looking at a string of text and then looking at a string of text with zero with characters, if you are like, let's say that you are just looking at the file size and it's just bytes, you will notice a discrepancy if there's a huge zero width character in it. So when we say that it's hidden, we mean it's hidden to like a layperson. If there was a computer science person who's just looking at the length of the message and they're like, this is twice as long in bytes as it's supposed to be based on the number of characters here, it can still be detected. So this isn't like, this isn't steganography on the scale where we're trying to, like, image steganography sometimes can seed information into the image, and the end file size is exactly the same. That's not quite the same with this technique.
Right, yeah, so you are adding bytes, but my first argument against that would just be, just do it in a paragraph, right? Once you're past paragraph size, like, it's not going to be obvious. Depending on, now we'll see that, depending on what you're sending, because you don't have to send just text, right? Like anything that you can convert into binary could be hidden in this way, right? Which isn't very important. But one of the other important use cases I thought of too is the whole Canary Trap. Are you familiar with the Canary Trap?
Canary Trap, no, go ahead.
Okay, so essentially it's when, say, on the opposite side of the whistleblower, say I'm big government agency or whatever, and I'm like, someone's leaking my data. I need to know who it is. So then I give a different version of that data to every single person I suspect, and then I look at the data that gets out and see, hey, whose information was this? Who did I give this to? Right? Now, obviously, that has a flaw in it because since you're giving each individual different data, if they ever compare notes, it's obvious that they got different data, right? So what you can do is you can use zero width characters, and you can hide, and I can say Kody, and I can put Cody's name like 50 places in this file and give it to you, and then I can do the same thing with Steve. And so that way, when the document gets leaked, I just open it up, I look, oh, hey, look, Steve's name's all over this document. Clearly it was Steve that leaked it, right?
I've never heard that referred to as the Canary Trap. I've always heard like whack-a-mole, but that makes sense.
And in fact, like congressional aides are known to do this in a sort of crude way. They'll do intentional misspellings and things like that, right? To try to catch people. And then another use case I really like too is the whole kind of notion that no one looks for a secret message within a secret message, right? So like if I send you an encrypted email, I could easily in like the first sentence put a zero width character that's just a code word, right? And then you have to respond in your messages with a separate code word. And so if you were ever compromised, so someone got your encrypted email key, like hacked your account or something, and they tried to send me an email, they would never think, like no one in their right mind would think to look for a zero width character unless they're super paranoid. So then I would immediately know, hey, Cody's account got compromised, like scrub this, like, you know, delete all the files as it were.
Yeah, that's a nice little extra layer of security.
Yeah. So this all sounds interesting. How hard is it? It's actually incredibly easy. So I'm gonna find my mouse here and go to my screen. So
can I come to this stream as well?
Yes.
Because I'm kind of. I guess I could scoot. I guess.
Huh. Oh yeah, that's because I fixed you on the other one.
Hey everyone! I promise I'll be back soon. I just got some stuff to do over here. This is the Michael stream now.
Yeah.
Is it even possible?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
cool.
it's. I just got to remember which key undoes the crop.
All right, I'll be back in just 1 second. I'll just hold on.
Is it? No, it's option.
Option.
There's like 4 key. There we are.
Sweet. Okay. All right, I'm back, everyone. Hey, I've been busy, but now I'm back and I'm happy to be here.
There we go.
All right, cool.
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
With our setup, I had to do it a bunch of different ways. Okay, anyway. So, back on my screen. So, you know, I was mentioning zero width characters that you can use. And these are all your primary options right here.
You're on that screen.
Okay, yes. Yes, here. These are all the options you can use. But we don't even really need to get into that yet.
Wow, by the way, what a great article. Who wrote that article?
Oh, this fabulous writer called Hoyd on Nullbyte. You should definitely check out all of his articles.
Wow, yeah, I hear he's a nightmare to edit, though.
Yeah. Definitely maybe a better writer than a camera person. Or at least, we'll see. But, so the first tool I'm going to show is called Stenographer. And essentially, it will do this all in the web browser for you.
Okay, cool.
So all you got to do is, you can see I was trying some fancy stuff here.
You're trying to break it by making it huge.
So let's just say I got hello world, and then what do we want? Okay.
Whoa.
So we got this super special message here. And so then we have this. Now, so the way most of these tools are going to work is it's going to take one of the words, and somewhere in the middle of that word, it's going to insert all these zero width characters.
Just all at once?
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason it does that is because if you do put the zero width characters at the end or beginning of words or in spaces, certain spell checkers will go haywire.
Oh, right.
But when you put in, like, for example, Grammarly does not like this at all. But when you do it in the middle of the word, it just assumes that it's part of the word, and it's fine, which is weird. I don't understand.
That is really strange. Okay, cool.
But as you can see, so let's just go over to another tab just so Oh wait, no. Okay, yeah, I'll just post it here. So you can just reveal and
That is a huge word. That looks like German.
what stenographer?
No, the blue button you just clicked on.
Oh, de-stenographer.
Yeah.
Trying to say that one 5 times fast, right? But so how do we know that like it's not just doing this in like the browser, right? An easy way to actually see zero width characters, and this is a good way to check documents for it if you believe someone might be trying to do the Canary Trap type thing on you, is you go to a website like Diff Checker. This, like, you can try things like Nano and whatnot. If you put this in Nano, it's just going to look normal. Everything you copy and paste this to, it's going to look normal, except for certain programs who are specifically designed to show these zero width characters. So the way that Diff Checker displays them is as these little dots. Now, these dots are obviously different because we're creating the binary, but you can see here that so it actually didn't even do the best practice. It just put it between 2 words.
That's funny.
Right, but if you are also interested in investigating these, it doesn't work on Mac, but for Linux and Windows, there's Notepad++. And on Notepad++, if you just go to Encoding and then ANSI, so this is all, UTF-8 encoding, but if you switch it to ANSI, then it will break this, and you'll be able to see them in Notepad++, which is a good way, because one of the really powerful things about these zero width characters is they go with this text wherever it's copy and pasted to, right? So that's very powerful because, even if you're like, oh, I'm going to be super sneaky, I'm going to copy and paste this to a forum somewheres or something like that, right? Then you'll get caught. And even if you think you're super clever and you're like, oh, hey, wait, I'll take a picture of this document or I'll photocopy this document, right? Then as we mentioned before, the EXIF data from the image can get you. And also a lot of photocopiers will have these tiny microscopic yellow dots and that actually will be capable of uniquely identifying which printer they came from. I don't know if you knew about that. Yeah. So when you try to use this thing, there's a lot of ways that you could catch someone leaking or something like that. But yeah. Okay, so that's all cool. Now, what if I wanted to communicate with Kody? Obviously, since we're only having, 1, 2, 3, 7-ish characters that we can work with to turn into, that's not really encrypting. You can reference our older video on encoding versus encrypting versus hashing, right? But I would not rely on this as a secure means of communication. It is
not.
Yeah, it's not secure, right? It is
security via obscurity. That's
right.
What this
it's a good way of hiding a message, but we can still use this on an encrypted message, right? So here I have my little sweet text. Kody is the best boss anyone could ask for.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes.
And true.
And true. Most definitely true. Okay, so I'm going to reuse some of the code I actually had from that previous live stream on encoding, encrypting, and hashing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to encode that file. Encrypt that file. See?
Right,
I was making sure y'all were paying attention there. So this is just the code I had from the previous live stream. You can check it out. Essentially, what it's going to do is it's going to search a particular directory for any files that end in .txt, and then I'm going to encrypt that. So I'm going to run that real quick. Okay, so let's just copy this key right here. So this key is the decryption key. If we go back over to our file, we can see, whoa, that got really blown the heck up.
Yeah.
That is unreadable. That is clearly not a sweet compliment about Kody anymore.
Very suspicious, in fact.
Yes, very suspicious. So I'm just gonna go over here. I'm gonna save that key. Sorry, I'm on another screen. Okay. And now, where could I post this? Where's a good place that I could post this hidden message once I create it?
Probably Pastebin.
Pastebin would be a good option.
Or some sort of marketplace where sketchy people constantly put text that's like subjected to very little scrutiny.
Yes. And in fact, so here, I was thinking, you know what we could do?
A free dirt ad.
We could do an ad on Craigslist.
For free dirt.
For free.
Dirt.
Yeah, free dirt.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt needs some free dirt for himself.
I don't... Oh, people from the South like Joe Dirt. Sorry, I didn't know that. All right.
Or, oh my god. There's so many layers to that joke. Hopefully some of y'all appreciate it. Okay, so let's take our encrypted file here, right? And we're just going to use our online tool. We'll just do a good old little hopefully do it. Yeah. There we go. Good old little copy and paste. Let's do that. And then what do we want? Free dirt.
Free dirt. Must bring own dump truck. And then to make sure no one actually shows up, just put comma, no trespassing.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. And then I already started the Craigslist ad here. I'm just gonna go back, and hopefully this works since I reloaded.
You can just do edit post.
Edit post?
Yes.
Yes.
No, oh yeah, there too. Buttons everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, update that. Free dirt. Keep out.
Okay. Continue.
Volunteers needed for free dirt. Wait, make your screen bigger. Control plus plus plus. Command plus plus plus. Plus. Sorry, I just want to...
Okay.
The folks at home to be able to read.
So, I haven't actually published this, right? This is just kind of a mock-up of what this sort of thing would look like online.
Great.
Obviously, a much longer paragraph would be better.
Not on Craigslist.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. So I now copied that, and if we go back to our stenographer, and just ta-da, and it'll take a second because it's gonna lot, but we get this big ol' huge message here. Which I'm gonna copy.
And this is the directions to the dirt, right?
Yes, this is the very clear directions to the dirt. Is there an easy way to make a new text file and
Mac OS? Just do terminal. Although I find actually...
Yeah, I wasn't going to do terminal.
If you do it through Nano, I just tested it, and it strips out the 0 with characters when you paste it.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, all right.
I'm a
liar.
I will show you, because I have some hidden stuff going on here.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so nano new.txt. Okay. Hi. I'm just gonna control X? Yeah. Okay. And then I'm gonna take that hi out. And I'm gonna save that. Save. Okay. So now we have
that
our original message.
0 with characters, but okay, yeah, sure.
Which is encrypted.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our new message, which is that same message encrypted, and I brought it through Craigslist.
By the way, you should publish that.
Publish
that Craigslist ad.
No.
Do it. Do it so all of our various fans can try it out for themselves, huh?
So now I'm going to run my decoding one. And again, this is just the thing the code I had going from a ransomware attack.
Where's the key?
Yes, where is the key? I have that over here.
You better.
Oh no!
You're going to open up that cube?
Yeah.
That is going to make your computer launch. Ah, yes, our favorite text editor.
Yeah, my favorite text editor is
a search
Chrome
window
tab.
/ the address bar.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Process
cool.
finished.
Process
hey,
finished.
now you're flashing with Etcher. How exciting.
They don't even see that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So, anyway. So, this was our original file. Hey, look! It's back. The message is restored.
Wow.
And the new one, it's there.
Wow.
But wait! Maybe there's more.
Uh-huh.
Maybe someone was hiding a message within a message. That would be very...
You should open that up in Nano.
So, what did I say? The easiest way to check for zero width characters is to do this. Oh, wait!
Wow. There's some
There seems to be a hidden message in this message.
Interesting.
Maybe we should go back over here and throw our secret message and see if there's a deeper message.
Except for when he procrastinates and makes me host the live stream.
Oh!
Michael, there's too many trailing dots on that. That seems like a very passive-aggressive message based on the number of ellipses you have going on.
Yes, it's as if someone had to do extra work today.
It's as if someone doesn't know that there's supposed to be something after the ellipses. It's supposed to be a pause. Or when some information is omitted from a sentence.
A deliberate pause. So...
Wait, no. Now I want you to really show me up and open that file in Nano and copy and paste it in there to show me that Nano doesn't strip out zero characters.
Okay.
Go on.
So, Nano, new text?
Now go ahead and copy that over.
How can you even copy? I don't think Command-C
Just works. Command-Shift-C.
Command-Shift-C?
Yeah, when you're in a terminal window on macOS.
Ah.
Or maybe it just gets a
color
palette.
I don't think that actually worked.
Yeah, try it. Great. See? It stripped out.
No, but it didn't even copy the whole message.
It copied the whole message and then some. See? You got a big space at the end.
Wait a second.
I'm just saying that if you're doing this in Nano, it seems to strip out the characters.
That shouldn't be the case.
I know it shouldn't be the case. I'm just saying. I noticed it because I used this website you were using. I created 2 files and I copied and pasted one of the message into one of the files into Nano instead of the fancy text editor you were using. And the result was that Nano stripped out the zero width characters. So just be aware, because I tried to do a diff on the 2 files. By the way, if you don't want to do a diff online, you can also do a diff just by comparing files in the...
hold up, though. Let's Control exit. If I do the other file, the original file...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's not displaying it properly.
Yeah, that's funny. The thing. So just be aware that it's not broken. It's just that this program is ignoring the zero width characters and it isn't allowing us to copy and paste them. So just be aware of that.
In Nano, in particular.
In Nano, yes. So using a regular text editor should be just fine.
Yeah.
I wonder if Vim does it.
I think that might have actually been an update since I wrote the article, because when I originally did the article, it would just display normally. So I wonder if they caught on to that. But, okay, so assume we did want to use this to communicate, but we didn't trust this web browser tool, right? The first thing we can do is, the whole code for it is on GitHub, this whole web page. So one of the easier things we could do is we can go down here, and there's 2 functions, bin to hidden and hidden to bin. And that's where they have designated what spaces 1s and 0s are in their binary.
All right.
And so by changing these hex codes to these ones over here, the other zero width characters, we can completely redo the way that this website encodes. So I could encode a message with my version of the website, and as long as you had that same switch done, you would be able to see it. But Zam doing it at home wouldn't be able to decode it.
I'm sorry, Zam.
Right? So what have we shown so far? So we've shown how you can encode these messages in zero width. And then we've also shown that it can work with hashed or not encrypted messages, right? I'm just testing y'all, making sure y'all are paying attention. So the best use case I think for this, like for communicating something, is you take a message, and you hide a secret zero width code word in there. Then you take that whole thing and you encrypt it, and then you take the whole encrypted message and you zero width character it and put that somewhere, right? And then they take it, then they unencode it from the zero width characters, then they unencrypt it, and then they verify your code word. Like lots of like you gotta be like top level paranoid to do something like that. But if I really needed to communicate with someone secretly, that's probably the way I would do it.
Okay, can we switch to my screen for a second? I want to show you. I figured out a little bit about what's happening with Nano and all this nonsense. Okay, cool.
Okay,
so I went ahead and did this in Vim. And when I pasted this in Vim, this is what happened. You can see that the characters are there. So mine just says hi, hello. H-I is over here, then H-E.
Are you using the same stenographer website?
I am using...
Because there's several different programs that'll do that. Yeah, so the important thing to note is that there's tons of different implementations. So if I took what you encoded there and threw it into stenographer, it would be gibberish.
Yep. Yeah, because it's using a slightly different protocol. Yeah. So even though, it's still using zero width characters, what I found is if you paste this into Nano, it strips them out. But if you paste them into Vim, it does not. And in fact, if then, oh gosh, now I have to exit Vim. Watch, you guys, watch. This is so hard. Come on.
Yes, this is why I love Vim.
Leave it to the professionals.
Yeah.
If I then open this in Nano, look at it. Like Nano still strips out the characters, or it doesn't show them, but it's all spaced out because all these like huge characters are.
Okay. Yeah.
So it displays a little weirdly if you're using Vim, but if you're using like a text editor, then this seems to work really, really smoothly. So everyone trying this at home who's trying to be advanced using Nano, maybe use Vim, and then if you're not going to use Vim, then just use text edit or something because they seem to work better.
Okay. And so kind of as Kody was mentioning, this isn't the only one. There's other ones like zero width detection, Upinox.com. It's on GitHub. You can find it. But also there is a Chrome extension, or there used to be a Chrome extension that will help you detect these on websites. Oh, cool. So what it will do is it'll replace zero width characters with emojis, so that you'll just see random little emojis floating in the text. I looked on the Chrome store and it doesn't seem to be there anymore, but it is still on GitHub, so I imagine you could still implement it. You can kind of see how it works over here. But also, if you do want to do this in the browser, there's two options. ZWFP is a Go implementation of this. It's kind of easiest to use. I don't like Go. I don't use Go, so I didn't really fool around with it that much. But what I did start fooling around with a bit ago was a Python implementation of this. So a hypothesis that I'm testing, I didn't really get to fully get the code working, but in principle there's nothing wrong with it, is we've only been talking about kind of encoding and encrypting text, but because we're basically converting everything to binary, then we could convert any file. So my idea is you could encrypt an image and then take that encrypted image and encode it, and then on the other end, if you do that in the same order, then you should get a usable, viewable image out on the other side from like a Craigslist ad that has no images in it, which I think would be really cool. I didn't get all the code working exactly. I can show you all kind of what I was working on there. Sorry, I got double monitor setup going on here that is confusing me, but let's see. So so the notion here would be you need to generate an encryption key, and then you would read the file and read it as bytes and encrypt it that way. Then you would take the encrypted text and you would then encode that. So that's this bit. The ZWSP underscore steg is the library I was just showing. And you would use that to encode it in 0-width characters.
All right.
Then you would need to render that out somewhere so you can post it to Craigslist or whatever. And then you would need to copy that, then decode it, and then unencrypt it. But I didn't get to write... Yeah, decrypt at all. I didn't get to write all of that. I was working on it, but kind of ran out of time. But yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to show off today, I think.
Yeah, so again, the workflow for this then is we decide the message that we want to hide. We then decide the carrier message or something that's probable or something that otherwise people might not scrutinize. And then we can also go through the additional step of just encrypting the data to begin with, so that even if someone does detect this security by obscurity method, they still are left with a bunch of random encrypted jumbled nonsense.
Right.
And it makes it more difficult for people to understand. And of course, if you, as Michael demonstrated, you can even add another layer of security where inside that random jumbled encrypted nonsense is another layer of 0-width characters if you really wanted to make someone angry.
How deep do the 0-width characters go? It's
turtles
turtles all the way
inception,
down.
Just inception of 0-width characters.
Oh, actually, I was going to show one other thing real quick. So Stenographer does have an API. So if you did want to do this in Python and you didn't want to use that other library I showed you, you could easily just use the Stenographer API. And I actually have Postman down here call back to some of our previous live streams on APIs.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to learn about reverse engineering APIs, we have a great live stream.
Well, and also Postman is great anytime you just want to quickly start playing around with an API. So like you see, I only feed it 2 things. Our public message, and then I have my secret message. Okay, and then I send, and I'll get it back here, and then I can just copy that. And I think if I go into diff checker, that should show where all that is. Yeah.
Hey,
see.
What's up?
Yeah.
I love how it dumps the whole message right in the center.
Right, and then there's another API call to decrypt that. So then I would... why don't you want to... There we go. What? Doesn't want a backspace now.
It hates it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, let's see if I can...
Hey, there you go. Cool. It extracted it. All right, awesome. And there's no key on this one, so you're not... This is encoded, not encrypted.
Yeah, this is just encoded.
Cool.
So all you would have to do is send simple get request to that URL there. And then you just send it, decode or public and private. And I could use an encrypted message there. For just demonstration, I wanted to show that you could use an API if you wanted to as well. So just another way to access these kinds of things.
I have a question. Why didn't you publish that Craigslist ad?
Because people don't need free dirt. They don't need to be teased like that. Do you know how much dirt costs? Good topsoil for a garden is so expensive.
Okay, then change it to be expensive dirt and post that. Either way, it would be cool if anybody wants to try out posting something on Pastebin or something else as a challenge to see if other people can reveal it. That would be cool. I would love to see what you guys can do, and if you find any interesting tools that maybe take this even a step further. Although, I have to say, Michael's tool that he wrote is pretty interesting for being able to encrypt everything first.
Yeah.
Michael, if people wanted to see that tool, do you have it in your GitHub or anything?
I think it might be on GitHub. If it's not, I'll post it before we air. Or by lunchtime the day we air this, it will be live.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so a lot of that's just the... is just the code we used for the ransomware episode. I kind of just repurposed it real quick, but the library I'm using for that, let me look at that real quick, is Fairnet, Fernet. It's like, the reason I really liked it is because it was like 3 lines to implement. It's like import fairnet, generate key, and then just use the key to encrypt it. So it was really super easy to
if
use.
you want to switch over to my screen, I'll give one other parting thing. I have used this before. There are, as Michael mentioned, some different Chrome extensions you can install to just check for zero-width obfuscation. Not all of them can actually decode it well, because you never know like how it's being encoded. It could be some wonky thing you never heard of before. But here, if I'm using the ZeroSteg project and I want to hide the message, Michael's a code spaghetti monster in hi everyone, I can just click that. And you can see if I paste that here, then it can decode it. And if I go into, oh my gosh, I have so many of these. If I go into this insight here, I can paste it, and there's a little deobfuscate from text, and you can see that, of course, it's like a bunch of random nonsense to me, but it has detected that there's zero-width characters here. So if I were to do that on something else, unless this guy's just hiding zero-width characters everywhere.
The deobfuscation does give me another good idea too. Before you were mentioned like what was it? Russians sending code to their botnet via Instagram images. You could do a very similar thing with this, right? Whether it's a Craigslist ad, a forum, whatever, you do that, and then have a program searching for a particularly worded ad, and then grabbing the zero-width characters, decoding them, because that could be a good way to exfiltrate data past a firewall as well. Because encoding it in zero-width characters, a firewall is probably not going to think anything of that. That's normal, just plain text as far as it's concerned. But then if you have gotten another program on the computer which will decode that and then run it, could be an interesting way.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that there's also a couple different options here. I'm just going to see if any of them, I don't think any of them are actually going to deobfuscate it, but it's still pretty cool to be able to detect stuff. And as you saw, there's also some other things that are out here. Zero-width character checker. And this one actually will go through and highlight stuff by, I think you were saying it puts little emojis in. This just puts little red characters in.
Yeah.
So, and it also recommends diff checker. So
diff checker is probably the easiest way. It's actually a really good way too if someone's trying to use the classic Canary Trap on you, because it can check and it can find those minor misspellings between two but that kind of relies on the fact that you've gotten 2 versions of the document.
Yeah, and of course you can also, if you save it to a file that actually is able to interpret those characters and actually save them properly rather than stripping them like nano, then you can also just run diff, which is just a Linux command on your computer between 2 different files and see if they're the same. Although I admit it is not as elegant as using diff checker in a browser.
Yeah, so that's a lesser known form of stenography that hopefully sparks your imagination. In a future episode, we can go over the more basic forms of stenography, including image stenography and sending commands and stuff like that.
Yeah, because honestly, if Michael wanted to, he could have replaced the nasty message inside the Craigslist ad with instead a piece of code. And then maybe he has a botnet somewhere or whatever else that's just going to request this URL and download the text and decode it and then run whatever command you put in there. Really, there's a lot of different things you can do. And that's exactly what Russians were doing with Instagram images. They were able to take this information, encrypt it, put it into this Instagram account, and then have bots go to that Instagram account, download the latest pictures, and then search every one of them for an encrypted message, decode it with a pre-shared key, and then be able to execute those commands and updates in a way that didn't directly connect back to anyone in particular. Hide your IP address, hide the fact that you're the one orchestrating the attack. It's a pretty elegant and pretty interesting way of having a command and control network that's basically just like Instagram or photos posted on random websites.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in more steganography stuff, then please hit us up and let us know what kind of tools you're interested in. There's some great stuff that does audio. There's some good stuff that does video. And
I'm sure there's all kinds of other cool things out there that I don't even know about yet.
Yeah, so if you want to see us do some more stuff with this, please let us know. We'll take a look at some more tools. We'll see if maybe there's some more advanced ways of using this stuff and maybe even show you guys some more code samples.
Yeah.
And as Michael said, if you want to poke around the code or maybe make your own version of this, then not only are there APIs out there that you can plug into really simply, so you don't even need to know that much Python. You can also use the libraries that are provided to do this stuff locally, which honestly, this isn't that much horsepower. It's not like you
honestly,
need
like all this coding is dead simple. Like most of it's just a handful of commands. It's just I ran out of time, and like I'm a very newbie coder. Like someone more advanced than me could write something much more elegant as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we constantly recommend people who want to get started with coding, try out Python, try out learning how to work with APIs, and this is a perfect project for that. So if you are a beginner or if you've never tried this stuff before, I encourage you guys to play around with the code, see if you can do this for yourself, and play around with hiding things inside what looks like a normal message, because it's pretty cool. All right, cool. All right, well, this is going to be a pretty short episode today, but we have much more for you.
It's actually 45 minutes long.
Yeah, man. Usually we almost go overtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you guys for joining us today. If you want to check out some other great stuff from Varonis, make sure to check out the threat update on the Varonis brand account. That is run by Killian, our sometimes co-host, who is going to go through a number of different things that companies are up against in the security realm. So if you want to hear about how other big companies are fending off cyber attacks and what kind of cyber attacks they're working with, then the threat update is a great place to go.
Cool.
Well, thank you, Michael, for carrying this episode. I appreciate you sharing what you've learned about stenography, and we will see you guys next time.
Yeah, I was going to issue a challenge. So if anyone does want to get it up and running with encrypting a image file and then zero-width charactering it, that's a good challenge, good test thing to try to do. I'd love to see y'all's code of that actually running.
Well, yeah, if you guys can hide like a... Without hitting a text limit on Craigslist, you guys can hide like an image on a Craigslist ad and let us know. We would be very impressed by that.
So, y'all have fun with that.
All right.
Now for Realty Spy.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.